Hello and welcome back, old friends, and welcome new friends. I'm so grateful that you are here. The channel is Artsy Not Fartsy, and my name is Julia. Today's video is an experiment with clay, shrink plastic and resin. I have this idea to make pins or brooches with a uterus as the star. You heard me right, a uterus, and I call it a cuterus. Right now I'm molding polymer clay into a little pink uterus and make little flowers too to decorate my cuterus. The flowers are simple since they are so small, and I don't like the struggle. I flatten a thin string of clay on my tool and roll it up to create the simplest form of a rose. I also make little leaves in green and gold to make the cuterus even cuter. I can't help myself. Of course, every uterus needs a face, small black dots for eyes and a little mouth. And then I use liquid clay to attach the leaves and flowers. These clay uteruses will fit fine in my silicone molds when I'm ready to pour resin and turn every uterus into a pin or a pendant. I bake every cuterus in the oven at 130 degrees Celsius for about 30 minutes. To make things more interesting for us all, especially me, I've also want to incorporate shrink plastic. Shrink plastic can be bought clear or already sanded. I recommend the later one. The pre-sanded is much easier than my clear ones that need sandpaper on one side, so the color have something to hold on to. These I've already sanded, and I draw with a permanent black marker and fill them in with colored pencils. I've also created a rage uterus. These uteruses will shrink to a third of the size in the oven at 160 degrees Celsius. As you hear my kids playing video games in the background of this voiceover, I urge you to try to look through my dirty oven window to see the plastic curl up and then flatten, and that's when it's ready to be pulled out. I always put something flat and heavy on it immediately to make it stay flat. I'm no expert in resin, but I know two things you need to know when you endeavor to try pouring resin. 1. Use protection, no pun intended. I mean gloves, glasses and good ventilation. And 2. Measurement is key. My resin has a 1-to-1 ratio, meaning 1 part resin and 1 part hardener. And it's important to measure correctly, or the resin won't harden and feel tacky to the touch. When the resin and hardener are poured together and stirred gently until it's clear, I mix some of the resin with glitter and pour a first glitter layer. I just want a first layer so my clay and plastic pieces don't sink to the bottom of the mold. I use my heat tool to get rid of any air bubbles. I coat the pieces that don't fit in any mold with clear resin and use a brush to do it. I also pour clear resin into a frame mold, so I have options. Then I start decorating the first layer. I put in some sequins stars. Oh, there's my dog. And some pearls and some small flowers that will peek through when I put the second layer and the cuteruses into the molds. I let this layer set for at least 24 hours. When I have some leftover resin, I color it pink and pour it into some more molds so nothing goes to waste and I have lots of options later. Unfortunately, I forgot to film the second layer where I put in all my uteruses. But I pulled that frame from the mold and used the tiniest bit of resin to adhere that clay uterus to the frame and coat the whole thing with clear resin. When you're a newbie at resin, you often get sharp edges and droplets, so I sand the imperfections down on wet sandpaper and coat it again and again in resin, layer after layer, until I'm satisfied. They're not perfect. You can see small imperfections. For example, one of the ray uteruses black liner smudged when I poured resin over it. But I like them all. Clear, domed versions of a uterus. I hope my resin experiment gave some inspiration to try new things and endeavor out into the unknown. Now I'm bursting to pull out all my trusted paints and create a colorful summer explosion. Until the next time, see you soon.